What's up everyone, Doyler here, and I just wanted to release my video for the final day of the first Guild Wars. I know this is a few days late, but I was busy this weekend and I wanted to show off the reward mail. So as you can see, my guild did end up in the Royal Amethyst tier. I got 68.4 thousand points. I'll include the final breakdown in the description, and got those juicy 13,000 guild coins and that Royal Amethyst frame, which we will be ranking up. I don't believe I've done anything with it yet. Correct. So continue watching for sort of my breakdown and brief strategy. I was out of town, so it wasn't ideal, but still got a ton of wins in the last day, and really think that things are shaping up for my strategy in my guild. So, as you can see, resolution changed a little bit. That's because this is a recording from my actual mobile device. So what I do first, as you can see, first of all, we preserved our Royal Amethyst tier for the last day. Slight second place finish to our Server 1 Rivals roundtable, but hopefully be able to maintain the tier one more time over Whales and Scorpion and get that final reward, which, if you watch the beginning of this video, you know that we do manage to do. I'm sitting at an uncomfortable 25th place, but I have not done my final attacks yet, so hopefully I can improve that a little bit. So as you can see, this part is sped up 4x. What I'm doing here, and I'm going to cover this a bit later in a sort of Guild Wars strategy and tips and tricks video, but I'm going through each of the forts and taking notes on the power levels of every opponent in the fort, up to a certain limit. I don't plan on beating full teams of E5s if I'm spreading out, as well as any potential problem enemies or teams that I might run into. So stuff like multiple Garudas if I want to run Mimchis, or Mimchis if I don't want to run Garudas, or maybe a solo Ada with a huge faction bonus that could take out one or two of my own E5s. So gonna just let this part speed up a little bit, and I'll come back once I get to my attacks, but that's generally what you want to do. And even before the tip video, I want to mention, please share this information. Even if it's just something as simple as letting your guildmates know that there are 20 teams in Relics of Light under 2 million power. Stuff like that is going to really improve your scores and help your guild out a ton. So now that I've got my notes compiled and shared with my guildmates, it's time to finally do my attacks. As you can see from the jump in the video, this is much later in the day and I've only got 23 minutes left to do my attacks. That said, it looks like we've clinched second place and may have a small shot at first place. I'm not the only one left to attack at this point. There are two of us. If we get enough points, we could take first, but at this point it's a matter of just clinching that second place spot. So first, I'm going to set up my second Garuda, a little more tanky, give her the crown, as I'm going to go up against a Mim heavy fort. So, got the Ruda and Olivia geared. Those are the ones I'm going to use against fort number 1, which was a bit Mim heavier than some of the other forts. As I've said in my previous videos, while not necessarily a hard counter, a Garuda is almost a soft counter to Mim cheese, so definitely look to use those Garudas against those Mim heavier forts. And for those of you that complained last time, I did some testing, and running a full faction with fodder is definitely better against those Mim forts than running empty slots. You were right, I was wrong. I apologize for disappointing videos. Garuda is going to out-heal the Mim damage regardless. So as you can see, I'm getting 18 HP, 12 attack, and that damage reduction from running a full team. So this first fort, I got 23 wins, which was right about what I expected. I'll probably post a picture of my note-taking I don't have my estimates with me here, but I think I ended up about 8 wins short of my ideal goal. So basically right there. So setting up the first Garuda as well for, you guessed it, another Mim fort. And while throwing in your trash heroes when spreading out your attackers, don't forget that the more heroes you have from the same faction, the better the bonus. So that's the reason you'll see me attacking with full teams of fodder forest if I'm using Garuda, for example. And trying to make sure that I have the right fort selected for the second set of Mim waves. So going to run a slightly heavier Garuda lineup this time with the Rogan and the Heart Watcher. So 1.2 million power, but I think the strongest team that I might be able to defeat in this one is somewhere in the mid 2 millions. So 31 victories, obviously a lot better than I've done in the past days, and things are going great at this point. Other than my obviously terrible day 1 total, these 2 forts already have me almost tied with my day 3 total of 6,800 points, so obvious improvements over the course of these wars. So this fort was very low on Garudas, so I'm taking out my janky Mim Cheese team and gonna try and steal some wins against stronger opponents. Just making sure I have my notes right and this is the right fort, and deciding if I want to run that 9-star Mim in a different lineup, but I'm just going to stick it here. 37 wins, definitely more than I expected against this fort, and one of my best totals in one fort with my new strategy. So already at the very least my second best day, and a good shot at putting us at least within striking distance of first place. So I don't have all of my teams planned out in advance, which is something I should maybe start doing for attacking. So sometimes, especially in a fort like this, I'll try and find a way to maybe use less E5s if it's a stronger fort, but still try and get plenty of wins. But I still have enough E5s to almost use one per fort so far. So it's really a balance. I do want to sort of pre-plan my Guild Wars teams in advance in the future. So maybe I could run a scary, the 2 10-star Delaciums and fodder, stuff like that. So gonna go a bit more Abyss heavy on this one, but not a full faction obviously. But yeah, I know someone suggested on Reddit having basically Guild War offensive and defensive lineups that passively pull from your hero and artifact pool. That would be awesome. But as you can see, no E5s, and I still pulled out 35 out of 60 wins, which is awesome. So next up, I'm just going to use my Asmo and Faithblade, throw a horse in the back, get some more of those faction bonus, and use those fodder heroes. I think an E5 Penny is great for offensive Guild Wars. I definitely plan on finishing her pretty soon. Still managed 23 out of 50 wins, so almost 50%. Not a terrible result, all things considered. I like that 6 5-star Drake lineup as the weakest opponent in this fort. So gonna go with a light army here since it is time to use that beastly Ada. 1 E5 Ada can definitely do some damage. As you can see, even with this lineup, I'm looking at 693,000 power, and obviously there were teams over 1 mil power stronger than that. Managed 35 out of 60 wins. This is beating teams with multiple E5s just because the max pet, the buffs, the faction bonus, things like that. So yeah, definitely don't slouch on these solo E5 carry heroes with this new format. Ada, Russell's pretty good. Penny. Heroes like this are definitely going to be awesome. Next, I think I will use my Ithaqua in some sort of PvP modified version of a Burn Phoenix team. Just making sure I have the right fort selected from my notes. Figuring out how many heroes I have left and how many forts I have left to attack, making sure I don't over or underutilize, especially my enabled heroes. The 6 stars versus 8 stars isn't a huge deal breaker, but they obviously can still help. So, 1 E5 Ithaqua, managed to get 24 out of 55 wins. Not terrible. I think my Ithaqua is going to need some more support in the future. She can't really hold up against some stronger solo E5 heroes and stuff like that. Time to run some dark heroes. Kiri, not the best solo, but she can definitely run with some support. So we'll give her the E3 Scary for some actual damage support. So Carry and Scary, 29 out of 60 wins, another almost 50%. Not too bad. 30 wins against every fort would be awesome. That's 300 wins. That's 30,000 points. Definitely a good day. So next up, I'm going to run a dark team with the Amen and the Drake. Should be able to do fairly well here. Obviously E5 Drake would be a little better, but still working on getting the copies for him. 30 out of 55 wins. Awesome fort. This was a weaker fort, but I was still only expecting about 26 wins or so based on the weakest opponents. So, 2 heroes left for my last fort. Gonna run the Belrain and the Amen, Aspen, and just fill it out with some junk heroes. Doesn't really matter who I run. I was thinking about Sleepless for a second and realized the res did not matter. So 1 million power. I think they only had 18 teams with comparable power, but we won 31 out of 60, which is awesome. So yeah, a lot of this just shows you that spreading out your attacking heroes offensively can still net you some wins. Don't forget that these defensive lineups have to worry about not being able to swap gear, not being able to use max pets, not being able to use as many buffs as you. Things like that are really going to make a difference, and you're still going to be able to beat much stronger opponents. Unfortunately, unless our last attacker gets those last 70,000 points, we are going to end up in second, which you've seen is true. I end up at 18th with 68,400, almost exactly what Money got as our leader and a similar lineup to me. Can't complain. That was a day 5 total of just under 30,000, so I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the rewards. Be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons down below if you appreciate the content, and I will catch you guys soon with a Guild Wars strategy and tactics video.